I reckon uploading it onto YouTube would be more beneficial for the viewers because, it's got a lot more viewers, potential viewers, compared to that are Twitter casting. So I think the best thing to do would be we save the video locally and then re-upload it onto YouTube, probably half and half on my channel and on your channel, so that we can kind of, get the most out of it. What do you think about that?
I reckon that it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, is that the right way of using it?
Exactly.
Is the same
exactly
as
right.
To think?
Yes, exactly
reckon.
Right. I'm pretty sure there are some Americans who use reckon as well, but I think it sounds a little country. The other day, there was a group engagement team from the US semi company, and we were having a discussion, and he asked me, is the manager coming? And I was like, I reckon. And he was like, you reckon? And I was like, I think. And he was like, well, I understand what you mean by reckon, but have you lived in the States? And I was like, no. And I was like, because, people from the countryside of the United States actually speak like that. And I was like, no, never lived in the countryside of the US. But, well, I think that's when I kind of found out that word reckon sounds like that in America. Whereas here, reckon is a very common term that is used as an equivalent term for think.
I feel like I have heard people say that somewhere in the South or something, maybe it just goes way back to the time I'm immigration. People come from different parts of the world and, reckon reminds me of the word recognize. But I'm not exactly sure if that's the origin or that's the...
Is that where it's coming from?
Yeah, I don't exactly know. Reckon. I reckon recognize.
Yeah, it's worth looking up, right?
Yeah.
Do you but you can't say like do you reckon it? You can't say that, right?
No. In America we say I think. Oh, I suppose. Or you know what my wife always says, I feel like is how she says that all the time, so I
feel like
also say the same thing, yeah. Yeah, I feel like blah, blah, blah. I feel like blah, blah, blah. But is that the same? Does that carry the same meaning?
Yeah, I think it feels like uncertainty, level of uncertainty involved in it, feel like it's a little higher compared to the uncertain level in think. Because I think it's like a bit more, I think, categorical. Like, I think that is a type of verb that you use in order to kind of express your opinion very clearly. Whereas, like, I feel like is like, I think there is a bit of, higher level of uncertainty there. Like, when you want to make it a bit more ambiguous or vague, I think people tend to use feel like instead of think.
Actually, the reason why I may say I feel like is to become a little bit humble. If you agree with me.
Yeah.
When I say I feel like I'm not, it's not like I'm uncertain. I'm certain, but I don't want to assert myself too strongly. So I say,
right. Okay. Yeah. I think that that
also,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Really depends upon the situation and everything. But yeah. I know what you mean. Okay. So, unfortunately, today we haven't had much time to look down on the agenda. We don't have really any specific list of items that we want to discuss in our live streaming, but hopefully we can give some values through taking about an hour to viewers from many perspectives, like English studies and how to establish a good career in a foreign country as a Japanese, for example. And there are so many ways that we can provide something tangible and, could be incorporated into their lives and studies to, further work on their English and career. So hope we can give something beneficial to the viewers of this video. I'm not sure if we sometimes speak in Japanese as well, considering not everyone would be able to 100% understand what we're talking about. So it might be useful if we could like give some direction or guidance in our conversation in Japanese.
I'm curious if people understand us when we speak in English. Do you think? Can you ask people? There is a variety of, different levels of people.
Yes, exactly, right? So,
yeah.
So, 皆さん、これから英語で話していこうと思うんですけど、ちょっと日本語じゃないときついとか、少しは日本語入れてほしいよっていう方、いらっしゃいますかね？どういう方が多いでしょう？はい。Go ahead.
Maybe people understand what we are saying because we probably use just simple expressions, right? Mostly.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I try to keep it simple, but I don't want to simplify too much, as otherwise that could kind of distort the meaning of our conversation. So I want to maintain a good level of depth in our conversation so that we can kind of expand it and, get fulfilling, if that makes sense.
I'm kind of tweeting one thing to let people know that I'm doing this with you. So
okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, perfect. There is someone saying your voice is a little too low, so if you could kind of bump it up a bit.
Decide who is joining. Maybe it's a little. I was
that's much
with
better, I think.
Somebody yesterday. I was talking with Yumi yesterday, and her voice was consistently lower than mine. So let me I put a microphone right in front of me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think your voice is very clear. And in terms of audio, I think it's going pretty well. So I think you just need to leave it at that. Yusuke Nakagami on the timelines asking if you could introduce yourself, that would be awesome. So I think we should both start off with our introduction before we dive into our conversation.
That sounds great. I just slightly increased the volume. I hope it's not creating distortion of my voice, but let me know if you're hearing me clearly. Speaking of the word distortion, I like the word distortion because I play guitar, and do you know guitar pedals? Have you ever heard of guitar effect pedals? I have I have distortion is one of the guitar pedals. Yeah, I have a whole board, guitar effect pedal board, right? Behind me. Anyways, we should introduce ourselves.
Yes, let's introduce ourselves. Do you want me to start first, or?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Kaz Uekawa, and I live in Virginia, near Washington, D.C., and I'm originally from Japan. I've lived in the U.S. for the past 25 years. I went to school. I was born in Hiroshima. I went to college in Kyoto. And I taught 2 years at a private high school as an English teacher in Japan from 1992 to 1994. And then I went to Chicago. I studied sociology, and I finished my PhD in sociology in the year 2000. And since then, I've been in the field of program evaluation. I do a lot of statistical analysis and data management, and I have been part of the evaluation projects for probably 5 or 6 evaluation going on. What we do is we want to assess the effectiveness of educational programs For example, I'm working with a university in Alabama, and they have this special program for middle school and high school teachers, and they're teaching the teachers how to use technology in classroom. And we are the evaluator. We go there, collect data from the beginning, at the beginning of the intervention and at the end of the intervention, and we kind of capture or measure the growth of students' academic performance. And I also design. I design experimental format. So kids who are in the treatment group receive the treatment. They learn from teachers who receive the workshop intervention, and I also have a group of kids who are in the group we call control group. So that's how we differentiate the two groups, and then only one side they receive the intervention. And what I do is to collect data from them and do analysis and say, okay, this program worked, or this was how much, this is the how to say, it was effective, and this is the effect size of the intervention, that kind of stuff. So that's what I do professionally in DC area. But also, I've been talking too long, but I'm an author of Eigo Nodo, English Throat in English, and I've been helping people to speak better English by utilizing the throat, the neck, and you can probably tell I'm speaking from the throat. I'm producing kind of resonant and deep and lower voice, and I feel like that helps your English and even with your listening comprehension. I think that's about it. I spoke probably about 4 or 5 minutes.
That's okay. So thank you so much for introducing yourself. So let me give you my background as well. So my name is Atsu, and I was born and raised in Japan. So I was born in 1990. So I'm currently 28 years old, and I also grew up in Japan. I grew up in Sapporo, the capital of Hokkaido Prefecture. I went to a normal public junior high school and high school there, and went to a uni in Hokkaido as well. And I studied commerce at a time, and the very first time I started learning English was when I was 17 years old, so excluding compulsory education. Some people say why don't you include your compulsory education period? But well, to me, compulsory English education in Japan is something just neither, to be honest. So I don't want to exclude that. So the very first time when I really got serious about studying English was when I was 17 years old. And the reason I got really attracted by it was, well, I just simply thought it would be very cool if I could speak English. So that was when I started picking up. And then in the following year, I had to do all the exam studies for my entrance exam into uni. And then I just kept studying after enrolling in the uni. And I think in the second year, I got to a certain level, which was proven by in grade 1, and also TOEIC 90, 940 or 70. I can't really exactly remember, but around that range. And that made me think, if I could probably put in the hard years to go grasp an opportunity to work in a foreign country, that would be quite interesting. So that was when I started looking out for an opportunity to work. And Canada and Australia were on my radar, and I was kind of judging away, which has a higher probability of being able to work. And at that point, well, from many perspectives, Australia was superior or better compared to Canada. So I chose Australia. I went to a graduate school here in Australia called the Australian National University. I did the Master of Accounting, graduated in 2014, and I started my career at one of the big four accounting firms in Melbourne. So it's been approximately 4 to 4.5 years since I started my career as a public accountant. My job is audit. Audit is like examination of financial statements. So as you guys already know, probably companies issue an annual report or a report to show their like financial status or position, performance at the minimum annually. And the credibility of that information has to be supported by someone who is external. And that's where audit comes into play. So like me or auditor as an external party comes into the company and check all the numbers and make sure that those numbers are accurate and complete, and also like all the assets in the balance sheet and etc has been like valued and allocated correctly. So that's what I do as part of my job, and make sure that we bring fairness into the market, and we give credibility to the financial statements so that we can kind of secure the possibility of users of financial statements making wrong decisions as a result of reading those pieces of info in there. So that's what I do as a public accountant. And so I've been in Australia for about 6 years now. I moved here when I was 22 for the first time. Been a long journey, but it feels like it was yesterday. Very stimulating every day. I love staying here, and I also do Atsueigo, like you guys know, on YouTube, where I share my methods of learning English, and also like what I feel as a pure Japanese as an important thing to keep in mind in kind of establishing yourself in English-speaking countries. So that's pretty much it. So thank you very much. Kazu-san, are you there?
I do this sometimes. I muted myself and then.
Okay. I thought you were like completely gone, and I was like, where did he go?
I was saying that Japan has been in recession for the past 30 years since around the time I left, and it hasn't really it hasn't really recovered from it. So working outside of Japan is a serious option, I think, for people. But it is very important that, like you did, to have a kind of certificate or to have a special field of knowledge or skill that you can really use to get a job and stuff. Yeah. So you're getting a. What is it? You recently are certified as a, but you've worked in the area for like many years, 5 or 6 years. Where you recently are certified as a public accountant.
Yes, correct.
Did you pass the test? Yeah.
Yep. So I first started off with taking all the U.S. CPA exams, so Certified Public Accounting exams for the of the United States. The reason I started with the US CPA was there was a test center available in Japan, and I had already known that I would have to do something equivalent here in Australia if I wanted to establish my career here. So I thought it would be kind of efficient if I could pass all the exams in Japan before coming to Australia. So I took all the exams when I was at uni, right? When I was around like 20, 21 years old, and they passed all of them. And they got the license for it a couple of years ago after gaining some experience at my firm, and then got my license for Australia as well as a result of having the license from the US. So, what is interesting is I first applied to Alaska, right? I've never been to the States, but like as part of the application process, I had to find a state that could accept my credits from uni, and Alaska was one of the few ones, and applied to Alaska, and then transferred all my credits to Washington and got a license from Washington, and so never been to the States, but I've got certified by accountancy board in the States. And I also want to, this is just off topic, but I want to touch on the comment from Masa, who's saying he's watching this live from Toho, ANU. So Toho is exactly the same dormitory I was living for about 2 years when I was studying at the ANU. So I feel so kind of touched when I hear someone watching this, because it kind of brings me back all the memories I had at TOEFL, and well, it's lovely to have someone watching this from TOEFL now. And TOEFL, I was living on like 105とかそれぐらいのroom number. I forgot the room number now, but I think I was living on the first floor. So somebody must be watching from the, as in like.
So
it's pretty interesting to have someone like that now.
So we have a word alma mater, right? The alma mater. So ANU is your alma mater, and does it stand for Australia National University?
Yeah, Australian National
ANU.
University. But what did you say? Like I couldn't pick a word. The term that you...
Alumni.
Alumni. Okay.
Sorry, alma mater, I guess. Alma mater.
Mater. Okay.
Yeah, alma mater is the
Not
word to describe your whatever universities you attended. I think alma mater.
I think you should type it now for everyone.
I don't even know how to spell this, so let me check. Alma mater. Alma mater. 出身校.
Okay.
Alma mater. Yeah.
I keep hearing like alumni, but surely it's coming from the same word. But
Yeah.
to be honest, never heard of that word. Alma mater. Alma mater. Well, to be honest, I've never heard that word here. It may be only because I'm just dumb, but okay, yeah, good to know.
Maybe this is way too special, the word alma mater.
Alma mater. Okay. Is that Latin?
I think so, and I'm curious how normal or common this word is.
Well, never heard of that word. Well, never heard that word. Alma mater. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same. Sounds pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Hey? I like Masa using the word hyped, because that's one of the words I have in my book distinction.
I'm so hyped to listen about your post-grad memories. Oh, okay. Masa says hyped.
Yeah, I like the word.
Hyper. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming from hyper for sure.
I used to when I was in Japan, I was a high school teacher, and I used to play in a band with two Americans in Osaka, and we played at a place called, places in Umeda or Kyobashi. And the guitar guy, Jerry, used to ask me before the gig, he says, "Are you psyched?" And psyched.
Psyched.
And that, which it means you are psychologically ready and ready.
Okay.
And initially, when I heard the word, I thought it sounded like, "Are you excited?" Because psyched.
Yeah. I think that's what I would think as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it seems to mean that I'm ready and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Do people still use that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Once in a while, not all the time. Are you psyched? Yeah.
Psyched. I don't know. Never heard that here. Or it's just I just haven't had an opportunity to hear that word. But psyched. Are you ready? Are you
psyched?
Are you psyched? Wow. Okay. Psyched sound like psychologically a little broken down. Are you psyched? Are you psyched sounds like are you kind of hyped, literally, like hyped because of drugs or stuff like that. Like, are you psyched? Maybe. Are you psychologically broken because of whatever you're doing, whatever you're addicted to? That's a type of impression I would get if I heard that.
Sometimes there are words which sound the opposite of what it means for some reason. Can I tell you one more? I often hear on CNN, President doubled down on this issue. And if it means he further pushed and pushed. President Trump sometimes does things that are very controversial, right? And then the next day, he even pushes it to kind of, in America we say rub it in to kind of further kind of, pushes it. And then I hear people say, oh, he doubled down on it. And I feel like it sounds like, because of the word down, it feels like he backed up or something.
Yeah.
But it actually means he even pushed it further.
Push it farther, double down.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I think that's because sometimes, or not always, does down have a meaning of something kind of going down. It doesn't necessarily entail negative connotation, right? So, for example, let's say, hey, it's just down the street. Well, it doesn't really mean that you are going actually down, right? But down the street is just like, you just need to go straight and you'll find it, right?
Yeah.
So I think down doesn't necessarily have that negative connotation, but
That's true.
I think it's an interesting point, and I think it's a good piece of knowledge to know as an English learner, because people might kind of tend to think, like when I hear down, like it's always negative, but not always, right? So English is just language of exceptions, so you always have to be kind of agile and be able to adapt to those kind of exceptional cases. But I think you made a very interesting point. I think the word sick is also a type of word that is used in a positive way, whereas sick is obviously originally a bad word. And I think word bad is also can be used in a positive way nowadays, right? Like, that's pretty sick. That means like that's really cool. So it's really interesting. Right? That's intriguing. Yeah,
that's a good one. Have you ever heard of I'm down? I'm down for it, meaning I'm ready for it, or I like it. And I hear my son use it. He uses that expression sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'm down for it is pretty common as well.
Okay.
But I'm down for it. Well, I think I hear "Are you up for it?" much more often.
Yeah.
Are you up for it? Are you up for it? Like, it's like, are you still willing to do it? So like, we are going to karaoke tonight, but are you still up for it? Like, that means like, are you still like willing to come?
Yeah, that makes sense. But when you hear somebody say "I'm down," it feels like, no, I can't.
I'm down for it.
But I'm down means I'm ready. I'm going. So it feels like the opposite of what you want to hear, but it's actually correct to say, "Oh yeah, I'm down for it," meaning, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I think digging deep into that kind of matter would probably give us some like interesting insights as to like how English changes and stuff. Unfortunately, I don't have time to do that. But like, if we had time, probably that would be something interesting to deep dive into.
So you said that, or we said that we have two topics. One is to discuss how to study English kind of stuff, and the other one was about how to build a career. Which one do you want to kind of tackle or start?
I want to kickstart on probably English studies a bit more interesting for viewers. So I want to start off with that topic because I reckon that's more relatable.
And people should don't hesitate to what's the word? Just ask us questions if you have any.
Don't hesitate to ask any questions. Like, feel free to.
Don't hesitate to ask any questions if you have.
Yes.
Every email I write, I end it with like, let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions, or feel free to contact me if you have any questions, or don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or give me a buzz if you got any questions, things like that. Do you use the expression like give somebody a buzz, like give somebody a buzz, like give somebody a call, give somebody a shout, give somebody a buzz, give somebody a call, and somebody is obviously giving you a buzz now.
Oh, this is my alarm clock. Yeah, sorry. Buzz.
Okay.
Did you say the word buzz? Is it like a call?
Yes, buzz is a call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. If I hear it, I think I understand.
Yeah. I give you a buzz, I give you a shout later. But anyway, okay, so starting off with, right, kicking off with, what was that? English methods, right? English learning methods. Okay. What I'm very curious personally is like, what you think is exactly the steps that people should take in a long journey of English studies. So like in my opinion, in my humble opinion, right? I think people should start off with grammar, and then people should then, kind of accumulate some level of vocabulary, and then put those vocabulary into grammar, and then learn pronunciation and let them come out of your mouth using your like phonetic knowledge. And then the accumulation of those pieces of knowledge is kind of make a good foundation of your English. And then after that, what happens is you kind of keep practicing using those fundamentals, reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And then you also keep continuously incorporating like frequently used expressions by native speakers so that you can kind of convert really a diamond or like that's still rough around the edges. And then you kind of sophisticate it, right? You brush it up with like all those frequently used words. Know what I mean? Like, so you start off with making a very rough diamond, right? You start off with a rock, but you have to make a rock first. And then you have to sophisticate it gradually by like adding bells and whistles and kind of weeding out like something that is not necessary in your English. And then you get to a certain level where you don't have any difficulty getting by in an English country. So that's my conceptual thought around English methods. And I'm wondering if you have any notion or concept in a structured manner in your head around English studies. So I'm quite curious about that. So if you could share about it, that would be interesting.
Yeah,